She worked as a hotel maid, unnoticed by most guests and surrounded by a luxury she could never afford. One day, a phone call changed her life. In front of a wealthy guest, she revealed a side of herself no one saw coming. What happened next surprised everyone, challenged their assumptions, and made them question their beliefs about racism, privilege, and the world today. Her name was Amara. She had worked at the same luxury hotel for almost 3 years, cleaning rooms that cost more per night than she earned in a month. Most guests saw her as just another uniformed worker, quiet and efficient. But she had dreams much bigger than the hotel walls. Every day, she moved through the hallways unnoticed, listening to conversations in languages most people around her couldn't understand. What they never realized was that she understood many. Of them, Amara was multilingual, fluent in Dutch, French, and English, skills she had inherited from her father and sharpened through years of study. But in this world of polished silver and whispered conversations, her intelligence was invisible. No guest ever asked about her life, no manager cared about her talents. To them, she was only a uniform, a role, a shadow passing silently through luxury, until one afternoon when an unexpected phone call forced her secret into the open and changed the way she was seen forever. The day started like any other. Amara put on her apron, tucked her hair under her cap, and began her shift. The hotel was full of marble floors, shining chandeliers, and crisp linens. She kept everything spotless, but never felt like she belonged. That afternoon, she entered a suite reserved for a wealthy international guest, a man whose reputation for success filled the staff with awe and intimidation. Amara worked quietly, careful not to disturb, but then the phone on the desk rang. She hesitated, torn between duty and uncertainty. With no other staff nearby, she answered politely only to hear a voice speaking rapid Dutch. Without thinking, Amara responded fluently. The words rolled off her tongue as naturally as breathing. To her, it was second nature, but to the man who had just walked into the room, the millionaire himself, it was a revelation. He stopped, surprised to hear the maid speak his language so well. The other staff whispered and glanced at her, some impressed, others uneasy. Amara didn't feel admired. She felt judged. Word spread quickly. By the time she returned to the service hall, whispers trailed behind her like shadows. Some questioned why she, a black maid, would know Dutch at all. Others muttered that she must have been showing off, trying to embarrass the guest. The weight of their words pressed down harder than any pile of sheets she carried. For Amara, language was a bridge to her late father's world, a piece of her heritage she carried with quiet pride. But in the eyes of those around her, it became something threatening, something that broke the unspoken rules of where she was supposed to belong. Later that evening, the millionaire asked to see her again. The staff wondered what would happen. Amara felt nervous as she walked to his suite. The hotel's luxury now felt like a stage where everyone was watching her. At the door, her hands trembled. She could hear laughter inside, glasses clinking, the sound of power at play. When the door opened, she stepped into a world where her presence was an anomaly, a disruption. The millionaire's eyes fixed on her, not unkind, but searching, probing. Around him, others whispered, their curiosity edged with doubt. Amara stood there, caught between fear and defiance. She had spoken her truth in a language not meant for her, and now the world around her was reacting. What came next would determine whether this moment lifted her or broke her completely. The room went silent as Amara stepped forward. The millionaire's gaze lingered on her, but it was the murmurs from those around him that cut deepest. A manager shifted uneasily, his voice sharp as he muttered that maids weren't meant to engage with guests. Another guest chuckled under his breath, whispering that she must have picked up the language by cleaning enough toilets in Europe. Laughter followed, low and poisonous, wrapping around her like chains. Amara stood frozen, every eye weighing her down. Her heart pounded, not just from the insult, but from the raw truth it revealed. In their eyes, her knowledge, her culture, her worth, it didn't belong here. To them, Dutch was a language of power, wealth, privilege, and in her mouth it was. A trespass. The millionaire finally spoke, asking her to continue in Dutch. She did, her voice steady though her hands trembled. Each word carried not just fluency, but dignity, yet even then, some rolled their eyes, muttered that she was only trying to impress. A manager leaned in, whispering that she should step back, that she was making everyone uncomfortable. In that moment, Amara felt stripped bare, her heritage twisted into a weapon against her. She had done nothing but answer a call, yet now she stood on trial for daring to exist beyond the narrow box they had placed her in. The silence after she finished speaking was deafening. The millionaire's face was unreadable, but the smirks and stares of those around him told her everything. She was no longer invisible. She was exposed, vulnerable, and surrounded by judgment. And then, with the weight of the room pressing down, the millionaire leaned forward. His next words would decide whether this moment crushed her completely or became the turning point of her life. The millionaire's words broke the silence like a hammer on glass. Instead of dismissing her, he praised her fluency, calling her impressive. But even as the room nodded politely, the damage was already done. The whispers, the smirks, the manager's warning glance, they were reminders that no amount of talent could shield her from prejudice. Amara left that room with mixed emotions. Yes, she had been acknowledged, but not in the way she deserved. Her skill was seen as an anomaly, a curiosity, rather than the natural result of heritage, discipline, and pride. What should have been a simple moment of recognition had turned into a public trial of her worth, and this is the weight that so many carry every day, the burden of proving themselves over and over, only to be questioned, doubted, or dismissed because of the color of their skin. Amara's story is not unique. It echoes in classrooms, in workplaces, on sidewalks, and in boardrooms. It reminds us that racism doesn't always scream, sometimes it whispers. It hides in assumptions, in lowered expectations, in the disbelief that someone like her could possibly belong. For Amara, the call in Dutch was more than a slip of language. It was a mirror held up to the world around her, a world that still struggles to see people beyond the stereotypes it clings to. So the question remains, how many more Amaras will stand in rooms where their dignity is questioned, their brilliance overlooked, their presence treated as a disruption? And when we witness it, will we stay silent or will we speak?